Welcome back. I'm Christina and I'm a homesteading homeschooling mom of 3. Come along as we do week 2 of the pantry challenge with Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead. Hey friends, it is Saturday. I am still working through that chicken and chicken broth, and I'm gonna make a recipe for dinner that my friend shared with me whenever we went to stay with her. It is for white chicken chili and some crusty Dutch oven bread. She got the crusty Dutch oven bread recipe from Appalachia's Homestead with Patera, so you may want to check her out. She's got a lot of really good videos about that. For our family, I'm going to go ahead and double the recipe. That will allow us to have some today as well as some more tomorrow for dinner. I'm going to chop up 2 onions and saute it with some peppers from the freezer. That's not in the recipe, but I just like to put them in there because they need used up from our freezer. And I'm adding about 4 teaspoons of garlic and 4 teaspoons of cumin, and also 2 teaspoons of oregano. We're gonna let those saute and get soft and flavorful. Whoops, almost forgot the salt. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 teaspoons of salt here also. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stir all that up and add in the picked chicken. I had some carcasses in the freezer from the summer when we butchered our chickens and pieced all those parts out. And last week I made some chicken broth and I pulled apart a lot of that chicken. So we're just gonna go ahead and add just kind of whatever looks good there and stir it all up. I like to do that here to let the seasonings kind of mix in and stick to the chicken a little bit before I add our broth. And here I'm adding 2 cans of beans that I have drained. And now I'm adding the last of the chicken stock, or chicken broth actually, from when we boiled the carcasses the other day. And this is the consistency that we have here. And when it's close to time to serve, you want to go ahead and melt a brick of cream cheese, if you doubled the recipe like me, in the microwave, and then add to it some of the broth from the pot to go ahead and mix that in well and add it to the soup. And if you want to screenshot the recipe, it is here. It is a cold day here, 11 degrees, so it is very good for making soup and bread. So I have doubled the crusty bread recipe from Appalachia's Homestead so that I can make really 1 loaf of crusty bread, and then I'm going to do 3 other loaves of something else. So I'm going to start by milling some grains. I'm using hard white wheat berries. I'm going to try making this crusty Dutch oven bread with some fresh milled hard wheat. I don't know how it's going to go. Wish me luck. I'm a wild woman doubling a recipe, trying a new thing. I'm just crazy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do 6 cups of water since I'm doubling it, and 2 teaspoons of yeast. Since we have a lot of honey in our pantry, I'm going to go ahead and add that instead of white sugar. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I am no master of freshly milled grains. However, generally speaking, the rule is if you are trying to replace white flour with freshly milled grains, you will substitute 1 cup of white flour with 1 1/4 cup of milled grains. So here I'm going to need 15 cups of freshly milled wheat. And while I wait for the grains, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of salt. I've kneaded it up here and have divided it into 3 loaves. 1 is going to go in the Dutch oven right now to make the crusty bread, and then the other 3 I will roll out to make 3 different styles of bread. The first loaf I'm kneading in an everything bagel seasoning. We can enjoy this with our soup tonight, but we'll also like this for breakfast on some mornings. We can put butter on it or cream cheese or not, just leave it plain, but instead of doing the everything bagels this time, we're just going to have some hearty bread with the everything bagel seasoning in it. Another loaf is just going to be plain bread, and then my last loaf I'm going to do a cinnamon and pecan swirl bread. I've melted some butter and I'm adding cinnamon and sugar to taste. Does this not make your mouth water? I mean, just look at this. So we've got our dough rolled out to a rectangle. We've spread our cinnamon, butter, sugar mixture on. I'm sprinkling on those pecans. And the next thing I'm gonna do is roll it up. Now, some people, when they roll it up, they do tuck the sides under. I did not do that this time, but in hindsight, maybe I should have rolled it a little tighter and then tucked the sides and not really have tucked the ends in like this, because it was a little bit loose in the swirl, so I had some pecans and things coming out. So next time I am gonna go ahead and just roll it up as is, then tuck the bottoms under and maybe see if I can roll it just a little bit tighter. Either way, it was still delicious. It did the job. We had it for breakfast for a couple days, and I'm very glad we made it. After this is in the pan here, we're gonna go ahead and let it rise some more, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you the crispy Dutch oven bread. So I've just got the dough on a piece of parchment paper, and it's set for a while, and then I'm gonna put it in the oven and then take it out whenever it has reached an internal temperature of, I think it's about 185 degrees Fahrenheit. I did get a bread thermometer for Christmas, which has been wonderful. Yeah, see, I'm inspecting it here like, wait, maybe that's a little undercooked. So I'm gonna go ahead and check. Okay, so got my bread thermometer. It is underbaked. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that back in the oven. And if you haven't got a bread thermometer yet, I would definitely recommend it. That's degrees Celsius, by the way. But anyway, I would recommend it. It has helped to, just make good decisions when baking, because if you pull something out and it's undercooked, like that day, if you eat it, you might be like, oh, this has a little bit of a bread flavor to it, but it's not that big of a deal. But later, whenever you go to get it, like the next day, it's gonna taste bad. So it definitely makes a difference to make sure you have it cooked all the way. All right, so there it is coming out. Isn't it pretty? Here we've got our other 3 loaves in the oven, and our dinner. That's our white chicken chili and some bread, and the kiddos enjoying their meal. Yay! And here are the loaves after they have come out. So again, we're just gonna eat on these this week. They're gonna be a lot of time aside for breakfast to go along with some eggs. And then actually on Sunday, the day we go to church, this is gonna be the staple. And I think that the whole wheat bread is heartier, and it really does hold you over until lunchtime. And this is my cinnamon swirl. You can see where I kind of pulled apart a little bit, but it's delicious anyway. Here is my breakfast. This is what I had before church. It's that bread with the cream cheese on there. And it is a beautiful day. We have gone to church, had Little Caesars for lunch, and now we are gonna just hang out for the afternoon. All I have to do is reheat some soup. And I did have in the pantry a jar of white chicken chili that I canned, so I just think I'm gonna go ahead and add that. And I had a little bit of whipped cream left in the refrigerator from our waffles last week. If it smells fine and good, then I'll just go ahead and add that instead of cream cheese. And that will be dinner, some soup and some bread. You have to hold the jar with one hand. And then with this one, not that one, this one. Yep, you're gonna lift it up. It's gonna be a little bit hard to do. Try to catch it. I love that she wants to help. She is such a helper. So I try to include her as much as possible, but opening a jar, getting the lid off of a jar that you've canned is a challenge. The lid. Here, hold the jar. Hold the jar for Mama. You got it? There you go. Now take off that lid. And you can pour the soup in.
Smells good.
Good. Now don't let it splash. Hold. Yeah, there you go. That's better. So you may recall that this recipe called for cream cheese in it before serving, and I did not can it with the cream cheese in there. So I am adding, that wouldn't be safe, right? So now I am adding whipped cream to kind of replace some of that creamy, milky flavor. It's Monday morning. For breakfast, we're having our bread with scrambled eggs, fresh fruit. For lunch, we're having leftover Little Caesars and whatever else needs eaten from the fridge. All right, tonight we are going to have chicken tikka masala. We've got some simmer sauce, coconut milk, and from the freezer I have some squash and zucchini that I'll be adding to it. And then of course our chicken breast from when we butchered our chickens. So that's what we're gonna be having with some rice, and sometimes I make some naan, but I'm not sure I'm gonna have time tonight. It's busy time. Do you like chicken tikka masala? Do you like chicken tikka masala? Okay, we'll find out. Here I've replaced water with coconut milk, and then there is still some water needed. I'll leave a recipe down below. But the chicken tikka masala is pretty easy. You just kind of dice up your chicken the way that you want it. If you're really good, you might pound it flat and tenderize it, and you'll have just more tender bits. But I don't do that. So just chop up your chicken and pan fry it a little bit. And onions good in almost everything, right? Especially something savory like this. I'm using 2 jars of simmer sauce here. If you want, you can add a little water to it and shake it up and then put it in the other jar and shake it up. Make sure you get all of it in there. And now I'm adding a quart of diced squash and a quart of shredded zucchini that was really intended for zucchini bread, but I've got way more of it in my freezer than I need. So into this curry it shall go. I think I'm going to make some mango lassi. If you haven't had mango lassi before, it's something that you might get at an Indian restaurant. It's basically a mango smoothie. Here I have some of our homemade yogurt and then 2 cans of diced mangoes. I mean, I don't know what's in your pantry. I feel like sometimes we've got a ridiculous amount of things like this. But anyway, so we've got some diced mango, and I'm just going to go ahead and whir that up with my immersion blender and then add some yogurt to it. I did drain the juice out and I reserved that for something. For what? I'm not sure. I don't know if you have an immersion blender, but I really use mine a lot. I like it to make soups creamier. I use it on mashed potatoes sometimes, and then I use it for things like this. So if you don't have one, I will link one below that I think you might like. But if you do have one, please tell me how you use yours, because I do like that I don't have to dirty like an entire KitchenAid mixer or a food processor or something for a recipe like this one. I present to you our chicken tikka masala on coconut rice with our mango lassi. Delicious, flavorful, doesn't feel like a pantry challenge. For breakfast, we just are having eggs and bread, and I had a little bit of those nuts that I told you had fallen out, so I'm just kind of sprinkling those on top. And we try to have some fruit with every meal or vegetables, so I will go ahead and add a side of berries. And my son is having a biscuit with apple butter on it. That's our last biscuit from last week. For lunch, we are about out of leftovers, so Rosalie is going to have some apples with peanut butter, graham crackers, and my son is going to have chicken nuggets with fruit and yogurt. And I am just going to pick at whatever they don't eat and just find whatever is in the fridge or pantry. Nothing special, just a little picking and will do me because I'm not even that hungry right now. And for dinner tonight, we are going to have barbecue ribs, corn on the cob, bread. I'm going to go ahead and make some more bread today, and something else. Okay, so we have ribs in our freezer because it's one of those things you save for a special occasion, and then time goes on, and it feels like they're taking up so much room, and you never used them for the special occasions. So I busted them out. I had 2 racks. I decided to go ahead and just thaw them both because right now we are feeding 6 people, and I'm not sure how much we're gonna need. But now that I'm looking at it, they are looking much thicker than expected, and I'm here to tell you that they lasted a couple meals. I thought it would be hardly enough for dinner and that we were gonna have to like really do some things to stretch this, but honestly, we had plenty to eat. I am seasoning these with a couple jars of seasoning that I found in our pantry. We've used these on chicken, we've used this on brisket. It's pretty versatile, but it's just a barbecue rub. Like I said, I had 2 different jars, so I went ahead and consolidated it into one, which feels good to put that old jar in the sink. And I'm just gonna rub this on there and let them sit for several hours. I've got an entire jar left. I think we'll be having barbecue again soon. We've had a super busy week. I feel like with the snow and everything, we just had a nice little break for a while, and then some stuff kind of got scheduled in this week that would have been earlier in the season, and now it's just busier than it would normally be, and then maybe it's especially hard because we're coming off of a break. But I am gonna go ahead and make some bread to go with our dinner tonight. My friend gave me this bread maker, which is beautiful and amazing. Works really well. I have not had success in it though with freshly ground grain, and I haven't had time to grind any yet. I'll probably get that running in just a little bit to kind of get ahead of it so I can make some maybe tonight or tomorrow. Anyhow, I am going to go ahead and use our white flour to make some bread, just to make a loaf of bread in here, because we have finished our bread off except for just a wee little bit. I do have, let's see. All right, so this is kind of like where we keep our breads. We've got some old taco shells that I thought I might use in a taco salad. And then I do have a little bit of bread here, but it's not very much, and really it's getting stale. So maybe I ought to turn that into croutons or something to go on a salad. I'm not sure. I've got a few hot dog buns here and some tortilla shells, but that's it for the bread. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some more, and we can have that with our dinner tonight, or with maybe some breakfast sandwiches tomorrow. I don't know, but it seems like, you know, you always want to have some bread in the house, and I'm running low, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that with 6 of us. It doesn't take long to go through a loaf, so I'm gonna make some now. It's super simple. You just add everything in the order listed. 1½ cups of water, 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 teaspoons of sugar or honey, 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, 4 cups of bread flour, 1/2 cup of non-fat dry milk. I'm sorry, that's 1/4 cup of non-fat dry milk, and I used regular milk, and 2 teaspoons of yeast.
Where's that Red Mozart CD? Maybe I can go ahead and listen to that.
I like to do the ingredients outside of the bread machine and then pick up the pan or the loaf pan and set it down inside the machine. It'll just click right into place. That way, if you happen to spill any ingredients, it doesn't get into the machine, it gets on your counter. So it's easier to clean up. But you just plop it down into the thing, it clicks in place, and then you have to select the correct setting. I have a tendency to miss the setting and have to go through it a second time because I am just that good. But that's what happens whenever you work too fast. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take these guys out of the package, or the plastic I mean, and put them into our Dutch oven and roast them low and slow for a few hours, till hopefully they'll fall off the bone. You will see that these big boys and all their marbly fatness really puffed up, and they were just so good. For dinner, we are going to go ahead and have our ribs. I am doing this everything chopped kit with everything seasoned ranch dressing. We've never tried it before, so we're just giving it a go. My bread kind of fell. I think it's probably because I added milk instead of the powdered milk, so it was probably a little bit too wet. And I think we'll do some corn on the cob. While this is a pantry challenge, eating fresh fruits and vegetables is important to me. I want to make sure the kids especially have everything they need for their growing and developing bodies. So I do allow some funds for fresh fruit and vegetables, hence the salad kit. I'm eating 6 tonight, so I did 2 bags. It's got these little everything bagel chips and some everything seasoning in it. Forgetting how busy our week would be, I bought 3 of these salad kits, 3 different kinds. I only ended up using this one. As you can see, the ribs look amazing, and I served them with corn on the cob, bread, beet pickled eggs, and that salad. Good morning. Today is Friday, and we have some leftover bread, and I'm going to make French toast. So we're going to use some cinnamon, some milk, vanilla, and that whole wheat bread. The whole wheat bread is nice and hearty, so really by the time we had our piece or 2, it was enough to fill us up. I'll leave a recipe down below for you, but I don't overcomplicate it. I just kind of mix it till I think it looks good and use it up. I do prefer to fry it in butter as opposed to any other oil. So I'm just going to sop up that mixture into the bread here and fry it. It's really good. We had some pear compote in the freezer that I thought I would add to this that a friend made for us. And I also have just a little bit of heavy whipping cream left, so I'll make some whipped cream too. I'm just going to warm it up in the microwave. I've got about a cup and a half of cream here. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of sugar to that and a splash of vanilla. And then I'll just use my immersion blender and work on it until it's pretty thick. You want to be careful not to go too far if you've not made this before, because you can turn it into butter. And sometimes if I do accidentally start turning it into butter, I just keep going and I tell the kids it's sweet butter. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. I feel like I can smell it all over again. I promise it was really good. Like I said, we added that pear compote, that whipped cream on top, and it was definitely enough that we all felt full and satisfied afterwards. That's it for this week. Forgive me, I'm behind. I've actually got a whole other video that I am working on and editing and hope to get posted so that you can see week 3, because we are done with week 3. And I don't know, are we on week 4 now? I don't know. I got behind. I kind of focused on homeschooling and all that, and just running the house, and this is like fun to do, but not always, you know, urgent, right? So forgive me and thank you. And if you want to see more, please subscribe so you get your notification. Thanks.
I hope you have a fun time doing this video. So, come back if you want to make this dinner again. Come back if you forget the recipe, and we will help you.